Good morning. It's Norma Cowie again with a Sunday thought. Today I'm going to talk about faith. On Friday, I went to see a movie called Unsung Hero. I had been wanting to go for the last couple of weeks, but that hadn't worked out. And then I realized that the movie wouldn't be here for another week, so I went to see it. It's a story of faith, and it has you think about where's your faith, what is going. And the basic story is that a family of five, soon to be six, arrived from Australia, and all the plans to go they arrived in the US from Australia. Things hadn't gone well in Australia. He was a music promoter, and they lost everything, so he thought he had a job in the US, but when he got there, of course, there was no job, or it had fallen apart. Based on their faith as a family, they weathered the storm and finally really came back on their feet. But that's the story of this family. It's based on a true story, and I love the movies that are based on true stories. I find true stories really add so much. And this one really made me think about where my faith is at times when things aren't going really good. I don't know about you, but the weather here keeps changing. And so now I've got the sniffles. Like I've got a cold, sort of, not full blown yet, and hopefully it'll go away. But it's like I have the faith that I will be able to overcome that. So I had to think about, where was my faith over the years? Yes, I had a great belief about the universal love energy because I was experiencing it. I was growing with it. I was utilizing it, and I knew it was there. I did have some Christian background growing up, but it was sketchy, and it hadn't really taken hold. And there being one church I'd had my real early childhood in, didn't really learn anything from there. But then the second church, some other friends took me, I forget it was, probably maybe 10, 11, 12. And for a few years I went there, and that was the Methodist church. And there I learned a lot more about the life of Jesus, and about other things that went on. And that's what I find is that when people have a learning of how life works, when you have an understanding of how life presents to you. In this movie, the husband ends up in a deep depression. Now, they didn't really concentrate a lot on that, but the way they had him lying in the bed, I remember those days because I went through a time period of having a depression. And it's like you lose hope. You lose a sense of where everything, gosh, I'm getting teary on that. But you come out of it, because trustingly you come out of it, when you begin to hold on to what you do know and what you can utilize. I found that life itself has many, many, many lessons and many, many turns. A few people I know have straight lives. It's like they wake up and they just live their life, they end their life, and that is done. This is an emotional day for me, actually, because a nephew of mine is having he died, I think last week, and I'll be able to watch his service through video, which is really nice. And I've done that before with a family member from New Zealand, coming from a different country and where most of your family is. You miss out a lot of that family community. And boy, I'm affected emotionally here. And that's life. And that's like, so I wanted to talk about faith. What I began to learn through my learning of the tarot, which came into my life at 20 years old, was that there was a theme, there was a way that life worked. And it isn't all road. If you think you're going to live in a really cheery life just because you have faith, no, because the reality of life is that you are an emotional being, and you're going to have periods of time when things aren't as nice. But by having faith in something that supports you, in something that works for you. And I found knowing that there was a loving force out there helped me many times when, probably through some of my own doing, or life came to me and presented to me certain things. I had to overcome all sorts of different obstacles, especially in relationships. And it was like knowing that you had the energy had your back, number one, knowing that there is an avenue that you can take to be supported through the time, often a personal rise in your life that's there for you, that a friend, a help, it just sort of arrives and there they are with the somehow answers for you. And again, it's like, where do you go to look for your answers? I have begun to listen to a show which comes out on YouTube as well, called The Fifth Kind, which talks a lot about the re-looking at the basic, what would you call it, writings of the Bible way back. And some of the information really comes really into me. And is anyway, yesterday or the day before, they talked about the New Jerusalem Bibles, and I'm going to go out and take a look at that, because in it has a whole different explanation based on the original workings, which they're finding is quite different. Now, if anyone has a strong Christianity, well, they're probably not watching me anyway, but what they will find that the interpretations that were made just left out so many other things, which, according to me, as I listen to the words that this gentleman says, is that and he's an author now of several books based on Eden, but within the name of Eden, the series, and which I haven't read. So it's his, but I love what he's saying because it makes sense to me and it fits into what I have seen. Just as an explanation, one of the readings that I do for people and have done for people is to follow their soul journey from when they first came out, you might say, as a soul. I go right back, take them right back. And I've seen the planets and I've seen the spaces and I've seen so much that it's like you become aware of such a bigger dimension in this universe that we live in. And there's so many different peoples and so many different looks. But mostly it's like knowing where you come from and how often you end up on this planet that we're on, because it is an emotional planet. And how many people are sent here because they're basically sent here because I heard someone say to me once, well, this is a prison planet. And at the first I thought, what's she talking about? But then I realized so many people come and some are sent here and some really are working to recreate the essence of themselves, and it takes lifetimes. But it's so fascinating to see a bigger, broader picture of what we're really about, and having faith in this person, in you, and having faith in yourself, having faith in a philosophy that works for you, having faith in knowing that no matter what you're staring at, there is strength available. There is that ability to perceive ability. You have that. A lot of it is that people don't dig deep enough to find what's actually inside of them. And that brings the faith into the self, because the faith in the self then means you can go out and you can do many, many things. Otherwise, and believe me, I've been through it all. I've kind of not kept faith in my life. I have not done my diligence. I have not done those things. And I found like it was empty in lots of ways. And I didn't handle things well. This is why I know what depression is, because that's when you go, when you lose a sense of faith, when you lose a sense of where you belong and how you belong in the bigger picture. It's like there's nothing. But when you have faith in something, like the sun comes up every morning, somewhere you may not see it, but it's behind those clouds and it's shining. And it's there for you to draw strength on. It's there for you to say. Some people have faith in a belief. Some people have faith in a philosophy. Belief in a philosophy can be quite different. Some people have faith in, say, Jesus. Some people have faith in angels. Some people have faith in guides. Oh, which reminds me, yesterday we had a lovely session of channeling people's guides for them. And I just love the information that comes through those. I'm always happy when I get to do that because I'm left with such a peaceful feeling. And the information is not information I know because it's not me talking. It's just me allowing. Now, some people think that's really wrong, but it's like the information, it adds to me so much more the essence of all the things that there is. What do I want to say? If you don't have a big faith, a big philosophy that guides you in your life, that supports you in your life, you might want to think about that. What is the basis of your philosophy? What is the basis of where you're going and what you're doing? Somewhere there needs to be I believe anyway, that you need to have a faith in something greater than yourself. So when it gets tough, when you have confronting issues and you just don't know where to go, know that there's an energy that loves you beyond measure that has your back. But you've got to allow it in. You've got to allow that awareness in. So what today the Sunday thought is about faith. Where is your faith? What do you have faith in? Hopefully yourself, hopefully in your friends and your family. But aware doesn't mean that you're blind-eyed because everybody has their own journey. And very often in families, especially when they're big ones, they have many, many different things. My journey was to bring me to Canada and be here where the majority of my family that I cared a great deal about was back there, but I visited a lot. But as I've gotten older, that's gotten harder to do. And we lose more and more people. And that's fine too, because they have a great belief of the other side. So I want you to think about your faith and what you actually have faith in. Are you a positive faith person or are you a negative faith person? Meaning that do you believe that something will always occur? Something like I do, no matter what. But again, I talk a lot about your own mental ability in there because it's not like you're sitting here and waiting for, lightning to strike. It's about what are you creating for yourself? But anyway, I really was like, I was sitting here, what am I going to talk about today? I went, oh yeah, faith. That came popping in. So we'll go through. We do have one comment down here. It's from Yvonne. And she said, could you please post the name of the author of the books that you mentioned? Thank you. I must apologize. I know his face so well. He's an Australian. He was an Anglican minister. But look for on the net for The Fifth Kind. They have a website, The Fifth Kind. And there's also an Italian person. They work together. And I think his first book is I think it's Escape from Eden. But all of his books have Eden in the title. And he's got quite a few out now. And he's got a new one coming out. I have enjoyed listening to him because I see and understand what he's saying, number one. And number two, he talks about how Earth has made these quantum leaps at times and how the people from somewhere else, what we would call aliens, have had a big impact on our progression in Earth. I'm sorry I didn't name his name. It totally escapes me. His face is there in my head. I can see his face. But he has a YouTube channel. He talks quite a lot. Lately, he's been answering questions that people have written to him about. I was going to write to him about how I've seen and experienced some of the things he talks about. Anyhow, that's my Sunday thought for today. Have faith in you. Have faith in life. Have faith in however you perceive your God, in whichever way that philosophy, person, or is, because you are loved. You are loved. You are loved. Blessings to all.